to another video with Celestial Divide. This video will be covering the roles and permissions of the different users within the system. So it won't be as interactive or walking through the system so much as just walking through the different roles, which are the beneficiary, the executor or personal representative, and then the professional tier, which is attorney offices, wealth management offices for organizations. So in this, what we're seeing right now on the screen, this is the executor view / professional. There's going to be some overlap. In this case, a professional can see multiple estates, and you'll notice that just by the drop down here. Professionals and executors can add different estates. We've talked about it in other videos, but there's different settings that professionals and executors can do with setting up the estates. So here's a chart to show you the differences. So within the system, you can enter fair market value to help, again, anchor some of the decision logic. Beneficiaries can't do that. Executors can, but professionals also can, but it's optional in this case. Enter assets. So bidding for themselves, pretty straightforward. Beneficiaries and executors can bid for themselves. However, an executor or a professional can bid on behalf of a beneficiary if needed. Adding beneficiaries, everyone has options to do that. Beneficiary split, only the executor, the individual in charge of the estate, can do that, as well as the professional. Disparity levels, only the executor and professional can do that. The liquidity schedule, only executors or professionals. Everybody can see bidding progress. Asset sales overrides. So if there is a sale pending for, let's just say, a vehicle, and you have the documentations for that, the executor or professional can add those. View other professionals' assets, so we can all see that within the system. Add estate cash, anybody can do that. And add real estate, anybody can do that. Enter marginal taxes, also everybody is allowed to do that. Contact the trusted professional network, everybody in the system can do that. There's another video on what that means, and just Clip Notes version of that. Within the system, at some point, we were thinking that individuals will need help maybe with a property that maybe they just inherited, or they don't have a wealth manager or financial planner. So we have individuals in there for that, or an accountant or tax professional to help you with taxes now that you have entered a different tax bracket, and so on and so forth. So that's what the TPN is all about. However, within the system at a professional tier, you can add in your own professionals in your network that you can refer people to. So the professional network is the only one that can add new professionals into that network. Financial preferences for self, only beneficiaries can do that. There were certain settings that we talked about that only beneficiaries can add. Beneficiary settings is only really run by the executor. Income info, beneficiaries can do that. And then you can do financial preferences and beneficiary settings for others, and the executor on up can do that. We went in another video where you can set up a beneficiary so it's not as burdensome on the beneficiary, so the executor can do that. And then there are different dashboards, project dashboards, that only the professional tier gets, with different analytics on how your estates are doing or matters if you're on the divorce side, and other dashboard reporting And then lastly, to create an estate, beneficiaries can't do that. An executor could do that if they have somehow part of multiple estates, and a professional obviously can add multiple estates for their clients. That's really it when it comes to the different roles and responsibilities. There's more options for all the users, but we'll just keep it somewhat high level now, and we can do a whole full-blown chart like this for some of the in between the lines or some of the other options that a user has. So thank you for listening, and I will catch you in the next video.